My husband changed my life insurance while I was waiting for surgery, then my lawyer played one recording. Patricia pressed the pen into my hand like she was tucking a blanket around a child. The pen was silver, expensive looking, and cold against my fingers. Under it sat a blue hospital folder with my name on the tab and 3 documents fanned across the small conference table: medical power of attorney, financial authorization, and a temporary access form for my condo and bank accounts. My husband, Evan, stood behind his mother with one hand on the back of her chair, calm as if waiting for dinner. "Claire, this is why we're worried," he said, loud enough for the patient advocate and my aunt to hear. "You found one insurance email and turned it into a conspiracy. Stress can affect judgment." Patricia's eyes shined with tears that arrived too quickly. "We are not stealing from you. We are trying to protect this family in case the worst happens. You do not have children. You do not need to punish my son because you are scared." My Aunt Deb stared at the table instead of me. The patient advocate, Mrs. Kendall, cleared her throat. "Claire, no one can force you to sign. But if you want Evan to manage things during surgery, this would allow that." My phone buzzed twice in my coat pocket. I did not look at it. I set the pen down across the unsigned line, then write down that I refused. Evan's jaw moved once, just enough for me to see the anger under the concern. That was the first time anyone in that room looked at him instead of me. 2 weeks earlier, I had been given a diagnosis, a surgery date, and a stack of instructions I could barely read without feeling the room tilt. Evan was kind at first. Almost too kind. He put my pills in a plastic organizer. He called my job for me. He told me not to worry about bills, emails, passwords, forms, or anything that required looking at a screen. "You're not doing this alone," he kept saying. I wanted to believe him because I was tired in a way sleep did not fix. We had been married 6 years. The condo was mine from before the marriage, and I kept everything labeled: insurance binder, mortgage folder, tax folder, emergency file. After my diagnosis, he started calling those labels morbid. "You need to stop acting like paperwork is going to save you," he said one night, pulling my laptop away from me. "Let me handle it." So I did. That was my mistake. Not trusting my husband. The mistake was believing trust meant giving him access to every door in my life. He knew my laptop password, phone passcode, and email because he had been helping with medical leave forms and hospital messages. I did not think about my life insurance until the email came. It was just an automated message from my job's benefits portal. Beneficiary change confirmation. I almost deleted it. Then I saw the name in the preview. Primary beneficiary: Patricia Klein. Patricia was Evan's mother. My sister Megan had been my beneficiary since before I met Evan. She knew what I wanted if I did not survive something. Evan knew that. I found him in the kitchen. "Why is your mother listed as my life insurance beneficiary?" He did not blink. He just sighed, like I had asked why he bought the wrong cereal. "Because if something happens to you, the money needs to stay with the family." I remember thinking the sentence was so ugly, it had to be a misunderstanding. "I am the family," I said. "Claire, you know what I mean. Megan is not part of our household. Mom would help me handle everything. Funeral costs, condo costs, medical bills." "You are panicking. You changed it without asking me." "I updated it because you were overwhelmed." That was the first lie clean enough to scare me. I asked when he did it. He told me not to interrogate him. I asked what password he used. He said I was being paranoid. I asked if his mother knew. That was when his face changed. "Do not drag my mother into this while she is trying to support you." By the next afternoon, half his family had been added to a group chat called Claire Surgery Support. It would have sounded kind if the first message had not been Evan telling everyone I was spiraling and accusing his mother of wanting me dead because of an insurance form. Patricia wrote, "I will not defend myself against a sick woman's fear. I only pray she finds peace before surgery." His cousin wrote, "Money makes people show their true colors." My Aunt Deb, my mother's sister, and the closest thing I had to a parent left, texted me privately, "Maybe let Evan handle things for now. Stress is not good for you." I typed and deleted 3 replies. Then I stopped. Evan wanted me explaining myself. He wanted me emotional, messy, defending my sanity in a family chat where he had already labeled me unstable. So I stopped giving him words to twist. I called the benefits portal from the parking lot of my surgeon's office. After verifying my identity, the representative told me the change had been completed online at 1:16 a.m. on March 8th, while I had been asleep on the couch, and Evan had been at the dining table with my laptop. The confirmation code had gone to the recovery email on file. Whose recovery email? I asked. It was Evan's. I asked her to send the record to both my emails. Then I locked the account so no changes could be made without a verbal password. I chose my mother's middle name. Then I called Nina Brooks. Nina was not a dramatic courtroom lawyer. She wore navy flats and asked quiet questions that made people regret speaking too fast. I had used her when I bought my condo, and she had once told me, never sign under pressure, and never assume love cancels paperwork. I did not laugh when I called her. I told her about the beneficiary change, the group chat, and the way Evan had started using the word capacity whenever I disagreed with him. Nina asked, "Do you feel safe at home tonight?" That was the question that made my throat close. I said, "I don't know." She told me to send the benefits record, group chat screenshots, and any document Evan asked me to sign. Then she told me to lock down my accounts. Then she said, "If they pressure you at the hospital, text me one word. Folder." I almost said that would never happen. But by then, I had learned not to defend people against the thing they were already doing. 2 days before surgery, Evan put the blue folder on the kitchen table. "Hospital paperwork," he said. I opened it and saw forms that had nothing to do with the hospital. One gave him temporary authority to access my financial accounts. One let him communicate with my mortgage company and insurance provider. One said he could enter, secure, or manage my condo if I was incapacitated. The last one was a medical power of attorney. These are not just hospital forms. They are normal. Normal for who? His expression tightened. For a wife who trusts her husband. There it was. The trap wrapped in marriage. If I signed, I trusted him. If I refused, I was unstable. If I got upset, he had proof I was too emotional. I closed the folder. "I want Nina to review them." He laughed once, not because it was funny, but because he wanted me to feel small. "You called a lawyer on your own husband?" "I called my lawyer about my documents." He stared at me. Then he took the folder and said, "Fine. We'll do this with witnesses." The morning of surgery, Evan drove me to the hospital with Patricia in the back seat. She kept rubbing my shoulder until I shifted away. At check-in, Evan answered questions meant for me. When the clerk asked for my emergency contact, he said, "Me, obviously." I corrected him. "My sister Megan stays as my emergency contact. Evan can be listed second." His head turned slowly. Patricia made a soft wounded sound. The clerk looked between us, then typed exactly what I said. The keys sounded like a door locking. An hour later, before pre-op, Evan said there was a family meeting. He had arranged a small conference room with Mrs. Kendall, the patient advocate, because, according to him, Claire has been confused about practical decisions. He had also called my Aunt Deb. She arrived breathless, kissed my cheek and whispered, "Please do not make this harder." I nearly broke. Deb knew I was careful. She knew I did not invent danger for attention. But she looked at the blue folder and saw a husband trying to help his sick wife. That was how good Evan's lie was. Inside the conference room, Patricia sat closest to Mrs. Kendall. Evan placed the folder in front of me. The hospital bracelet on my wrist scratched against the table. "No one is forcing you," he said, while his hand stayed flat on the papers. "But if you go into surgery with this much distrust, and something happens, we will be left cleaning up a mess you created." Patricia leaned toward me with the pen. "Be kind to your husband," she said. "Sign this, and stop accusing us of wanting your money." My phone buzzed twice. "Folder," I had texted Nina 10 minutes earlier from the restroom. Her reply had been simple. "On my way." So I set the pen down and said, "Then write down that I refused." Evan pushed air through his nose. "This is what I mean," he said to Mrs. Kendall. She is not thinking clearly. She thinks a beneficiary update is some kind of death plot. The door opened before Mrs. Kendall could answer. Nina Brooks walked in with a black leather folio under her arm. She did not look rushed. She looked prepared. "Good morning," she said. "I am Claire's attorney. I understand there are documents being presented for signature before a surgical procedure." The room changed temperature. Evan straightened. "This is a family matter." Nina set her folio beside the blue folder. "Then it should survive a witness." Mrs. Kendall asked if I wanted Nina present. "Yes," I said. Nina turned to me first, not Evan. "Have you read these documents fully?" "No." "Do you understand them fully, and do you wish to sign them right now?" "No." Mrs. Kendall picked up her pen and wrote something on her clipboard. That was the first hit. I had not agreed. I had not understood. I did not consent. Evan stepped in too fast. "She is scared," he said. "She keeps twisting one insurance change into this insane accusation. I updated the beneficiary because she was overwhelmed. That's all." Nina opened her folio. The insurance provider's record says the beneficiary was changed online at 1:16 a.m. on March 8, using a confirmation code sent to your recovery email, Evan. My Aunt Deb looked up. Nina placed one page on the table. The prior primary beneficiary was Megan Ross. The new primary beneficiary is Patricia Klein. The change was submitted from the same device used to access Evan Klein's email account 15 minutes earlier. That was the second hit. The record pointed to my husband. Patricia gripped the table. "That proves nothing," she said. "Married people share devices." Nina nodded. "They do. Which is why I also preserved the voicemail Evan left Claire after she confronted him. Claire, may I play it?" I said yes. Evan's face went pale. "Don't," he said. "Not don't lie. Not don't twist this. Just don't." Nina tapped her phone. Evan's voice filled the room, low and irritated. "I changed it because you would have said no if I asked. Mom has been more of a family to me than Megan has ever been to you. If the surgery goes bad, I am not letting your sister walk away with money while I get stuck with the bills and the condo mess. I did what had to be done." The room went completely still. There was the third hit. Motive, in his own voice. Control. Mrs. Kendall looked at Evan. "You changed your wife's beneficiary without permission?" He opened his mouth, closed it, then chose the worst possible sentence. "I was trying to protect my family." My Aunt Deb whispered. "Claire is your family." Patricia turned on Deb. "Do not judge my son. You have no idea what it is like to watch him carry all of this while she attacks him." Deb's face emptied of sympathy for Patricia. She took out her phone and typed into the Claire surgery support chat. The one where everyone had called me paranoid and greedy. I know now that Claire was telling the truth. Evan changed her beneficiary without her permission and tried to pressure her into signing control documents before surgery. Stop messaging her. Stop repeating what we were told. She hit send in front of everyone. That was the fourth hit. The same chat that had made me the villain got the correction. Notifications began buzzing almost immediately. A cousin wrote, "Wait, what?" His sister wrote, "Evan, is this true?" Patricia's phone lit up on the table. One preview said, "You told us she made that up." Evan turned his phone over. Mrs. Kendall stood. "These documents will not be signed here," she said. "I am noting that the patient declined and that pressure was applied in the presence of staff." She removed the hospital cover sheet from the blue folder and slid the remaining documents back toward Evan. "You may take your personal papers. They have no place in this pre-operative meeting." That was the fifth hit. The physical plan collapsed. The folder meant to take my control away was pushed back across the table like contaminated evidence. Evan looked at me then. Not like a sick wife. Like a locked door he had expected to find open. "Claire," he said, softer now. "We can talk about this privately." I shook my head. "No. You used private to build public. We are staying in public." Nina turned to Mrs. Kendall. "Claire would like to confirm her emergency contact and visitor permissions before surgery." My voice did not shake. "Megan stays as emergency contact. Evan can receive general updates only if I approve them after surgery. Patricia is not to receive medical information. Neither of them can make decisions for me. Evan flinched when I said neither. Patricia stood so quickly her chair scraped the floor. You are going to regret treating family like enemies. Nurse Alvarez, who had appeared in the doorway during the voicemail, stepped in. Ma'am, the patient is going to pre-op now. If you raise your voice again, I will ask security to clear the room. Patricia sat back down. The fallout started while I was being wheeled down the hall. Deb walked beside me for the first few steps. I am so sorry, she said. I should have asked you. I should have believed you. I did not tell her it was okay. It was not okay yet. I said, thank you for correcting it. Before anesthesia, Nina came to the pre-op curtain with a clipboard. She had helped prepare a limited medical directive naming Megan as my decision-maker if needed. Not Evan. Not Patricia. Megan. The document was witnessed by hospital staff and scanned into my chart. Your accounts are locked, Nina said. The benefits portal is locked. Your bank added a verbal password. Your condo management has been notified not to accept access requests from Evan. We will deal with the rest after you wake up. After I wake up. For the first time in days, the words felt possible. The surgery went longer than expected, but I woke up. Megan was in the chair beside my bed after flying in on the earliest flight. Hey, she whispered. I'm here. Don't talk. Everything is handled. Evan is in the waiting room trying to call this a misunderstanding. Deb is not letting him. While I was under anesthesia, Evan had told Deb the voicemail was taken out of context. He said he never meant to keep money from my side of the family. He said he was scared and made one mistake. Then his sister posted in the group chat. You told Mom last week that once Claire signed the hospital forms, Megan would be out of it. Do not call this one mistake. By recovery, 3 relatives had apologized in the group chat. Deb did it clearly. I was wrong to pressure Claire. I repeated Evan's story without checking it. Claire was not paranoid. She was protecting herself. That mattered. Not because I needed all of them back. I did not. But because the lie did not get to live unchallenged in the same place where it had grown. Nina came by the next afternoon with a new folder, white instead of blue. Inside were the corrected beneficiary form, my limited directive, a letter restricting Evan's communication, and a notice that he needed to leave my condo because it was my separate property, and I did not feel safe with him there. Evan sent me a long message that night. It started with, I love you, and ended with you humiliated my mother in front of everyone. I did not respond. Then he tried a shorter one. You are destroying our marriage over paperwork. I sent one sentence back. You tried to make paperwork destroy me. After that, Nina handled him. Patricia tried calling the nurses' station twice for updates and was refused. When she showed up telling the front desk she was basically the patient's mother, security turned her away because her name was not on my visitor list. When I got home, the condo locks had already been changed. Megan had put fresh sheets on my bed and moved the blue hospital folder into a cardboard box with Evan's things. I stood in my living room, weak, sore, and holding the counter for balance. For weeks, that folder had been a weapon. Evan had carried it like proof that he was responsible and I was irrational. Patricia had tapped it with her polished nail and said, "It is just a form." Deb had looked at it and believed it was help. It had never been just a form. Inside that folder was the version of me they wanted. Quiet, grateful, sick, manageable, and too ashamed to say no. Evan had to pack his clothes under Megan's supervision. He asked if he could keep a copy of my medical documents for records. Nina said no in writing. He asked if he could stay until the end of the month because Patricia's guest room was full of boxes. I said no. Patricia posted one vague message on Facebook about illness making people cruel and mothers always suffering for their children. Within 10 minutes, Deb commented, "This is not an accurate account of what happened. Please stop." Evan's sister liked Deb's comment. Patricia deleted the post. A week later, Deb told me Patricia had expected Evan to cover 2 of her overdue bills because, in her words, all of this started because he was trying to protect the family money. Evan told her he could not afford it. That was the mirror I did not know I needed. He had tried to make my illness into a financial plan for his mother. Then, when the plan collapsed, the burden he had tried to shift onto my body and my signature landed right back in his lap. No insurance money, no condo access, no medical authority, no wife quietly absorbing the cost of his choices. I am still recovering. Some days are good. Some days I get tired halfway through brushing my teeth. I still have appointments, bills, scars, and a marriage to untangle. But I am not confused anymore. The corrected beneficiary form is in my new white folder. Megan is listed where she belongs. My medical directive is scanned into the hospital system. My passwords are changed. My condo is quiet. Sometimes I think about that silver pen Patricia pressed into my hand. How certain she was that if she made me hold it long enough, in front of the right witnesses, I would become too embarrassed to refuse. She was wrong. I did not sign the blue folder. It was never just a blue folder. It was the line between being loved and being managed, between being sick and being erased. That morning, with a hospital bracelet on my wrist and everyone waiting for me to disappear into their version of the story, I got my hand back.